Thank you, Honorable Helen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to appreciate you for coming to this press engagement as we give an update on a couple of issues, many of which you have been following, and we thought it's important to update us on the latest on the goings on. When we last communicated, I did inform us that I had written to the Speaker asking her to convene the Parliamentary Commission meeting for us to talk about the goings on, the issues that are out there in the public, issues of accountability to do with the Commission, to do with the Speaker's office and Parliament in general. And because the Commission is the one that is in charge of this institution and especially the financial affairs of this institution. The Speaker wrote back to me, and in this her letter, she explained saying, you see, because of the budget process that is ongoing and so on, the Commission can only meet after 30th June. In other words, July, August, September, I don't know when, but she said there can't be a commission meeting before 30th June. I understand the last time the commission met was in August of last year. So if you're saying we can't have any commission meeting before 30th June, that means the year will have elapsed without the commission sitting. And the question I've been putting to her is, who then sits as the commission? Is the Speaker turning herself into the commission, and for that matter sitting and taking decisions on behalf of the commission? Because that's ultra-vires. She's the chairperson of the commission, but she's not the commission. Those are two distinct things. Just like she's the Speaker of Parliament, but she's not Parliament. She can't sit in her office and make laws. We make those laws with her presiding. So likewise, the commission takes decisions with her chairing, but not her sitting and taking decisions. And so that's problem one. The second issue, I did ask her to recall Parliament for a plenary sitting for us to discuss these issues, because these are critical matters. She did recall Parliament, as you saw. We raised these issues, but she did not give these matters adequate attention. If anything, she kept scapegoating until she quickly adjourned. I mean, you saw how she told a lie that, okay, let's first lay the papers, ministerial policy statements, afterwards we get to those issues. Then she quickly adjourned for obvious reasons, because there's a lot she's trying to hide. And we are saying we'll not allow for anything to be hidden. We are going to be insistent on these issues, because it's my job as the leader of the opposition to keep government in check. And as I have said severally, government includes the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So as I insist on these issues, I don't have anything personal with the Speaker. I'm simply doing my job. The other issue was we asked Parliament to comprehensively respond to these concerns that have been raised in the public. That has not happened. So what I have done, I have written to a couple of entities. I've written to the IGG, Financial Intelligence Authority, DPP, and the Auditor General, asking them to operate within their mandate to investigate matters of financial impropriety and other issues that are happening here at Parliament. Because those entities are put in place by law, and they have different mandates, which mandates we expect them to operate within. And perhaps before I get to the detail of the letters, I'm going to show you the letters that I did write and the content therein. Just to remind us the issues that we are also putting before these entities that we want them to look into. Issues that we have severally talked about. One is per diem of the Speaker, because the Speaker, in a period of 164 days, actually 146 days, she received 2.6 billion shillings as per diem. When you do the tabulation, it shows that every single day she was being paid over 4,000 US dollars. And yet the per diem of the speaker is 990 US dollars. So we want that matter investigated because it's got to be explained. Did the speaker sit and decide, I have now changed my commission? She does not have those powers. I mean, that I've changed my per diem, she does not have those powers. Number two, and even more problematic, is the speaker did not travel for all these engagements. In fact, one of them that happened in Midrand, South Africa, for which she got, per diem of 318 million shillings for 20 days. We understand there was no Uganda delegation to that meeting. So the speaker did not travel. Just like for many of these others. Maybe she went for a day or two or whatever, but she claimed all of this money. And yet, she is claiming a lot more than she's entitled to. So there are two problems there. You are entitled to $990 per day, but you are giving yourself 4,000 US dollars per day. Number two, that we don't believe the speaker traveled for all these days. Because the speaker has never been away for, what it would mean is that last year she was away for half the year. That's not true. The speaker is always here. Even when she will go away, there's a time she had twins, 2 weeks later, she was back to presiding over the house. So there's no evidence to show that last year the speaker was away for half the year, for about 6 months. And so these are critical issues that we are concerned about. Of course, there's per diem to the clerk, which also needs to be explained because some trips he was meant to be here and then the dates were clashing with another trip for which he got per diem. How does that happen? And he's the accounting officer. By the way, for him, his problems might be more because he's the accounting officer. He's the one who is meant to authorize all the releases, financial releases of Parliament. Except if he tells us that he has been torpedoed by the speaker, then he needs to explain that. But he's the accounting officer. So he has got to explain not just his per diems, but all these monies at Parliament. That's important. Of course, there's per diem of the speaker's husband. Whenever she travels, he goes with her. At some point, they were in Kigali and at the same time in Nairobi. How? Does not make sense. The other issues are staffing concerns, as we did raise them, that there's several people who have been hired by Parliament irregularly. And that's even captured in the Auditor General's report. People who have got jobs here, they earn a salary, but they are hardly here. We understand they are operating in people's private businesses, but they earn a salary from Parliament. That's illegal. While the staff that we need to operate here cannot, be availed, contracts cannot be renewed, but you're hiring people from wherever and they're earning money for not doing work. The other issue is, of course, the commission, people who sat and they awarded themselves money irregularly. That has got to be looked into as well. Then there's the speaker's community outreaches, where billions of shillings were put on the accounts of staff members of Parliament. They withdrew that money, took it to the speaker. There's no law providing for that. How did it happen? What did this money do? Billions of shillings. Because when you see the assistant director, 2.4 billion shillings was put on his account. He withdrew and took to the speaker. The principal protocol officer in the speaker's office, 1.1 billion shillings. Mr. Chris Obore, the spokesperson of Parliament, 1.9 billion shillings was put on his account, which he withdrew, took to the speaker. We want that explained. Okay. Another officer in the speaker's office, 4.5 billion shillings. Put on his account, he withdraws, takes to the speaker. What are these activities? We want them explained because these are billions of shillings. We want accountability for this money, but also it's illegal for these monies to be put on the accounts of staff. And hopefully staff at Parliament will learn, because you see, they will cause you to commit an illegality, and it's not enough for you to explain and say, it wasn't my money, I simply withdrew it and took it to the speaker. How did you get involved? How is it that billions of shillings are wired to your account, your personal account? So they've got to explain these issues as well. There's also direct payments to the director in the leader of government business office, 4.4 billion shillings that was put on her account for certain works. Which ones? All of these have got to be explained. Even as we are writing to these entities. The other interesting issue is a contract. With me, I have a contract between the Parliamentary Commission and Mama Bukedia FM. This is a radio station belonging to the Speaker of Parliament. This contract is worth 3.13 billion shillings. Apparently to do parliament-related work. Which work is that? We are asking what procurement regulations were followed for this radio station of the Speaker to get this contract worth 3.13 billion shillings. What work is it that this radio station does that you other media houses don't do? Because many of you, you cover Parliament Live and so on. You're not paid this money. So what special work is the Speaker's radio station doing for Parliament for it to be awarded a contract worth 3.13 billion shillings? What procurement regulations were followed? But also, more disturbing is that the contract is signed by staff in the office of the Speaker as managers of her radio station. How do you explain these ridiculous things? This is a contract worth 3.13 billion shillings. So aside from how it was given out, but the people signing on behalf of the radio station as managers of the Speaker's radio station are staff in her office here. So all of these illegal acts have got to be thoroughly investigated. We demand answers. Now, I had talked about the letters that I have written to the different entities. The first one is to the Inspectorate of Government, and this letter was received. I am asking and urging the Inspector General of Government to investigate the financial impropriety, all these allegations, financial impropriety, irregular staff recruitment, this contract of the radio station, and so on and so forth, happening here at Parliament. I saw the Inspector General of Government saying that the Auditor General is investigating and so she's stepping aside. And we're saying, wait a minute, IGG, what exactly are you running away from? Why are you running away from your responsibility? Because the mandate of the IGG is clear. The IGG cannot say that there is somebody else who is investigating, in fact auditing, because the Auditor General audits, of course, as the investigator and so on. But the IGG cannot say, the Auditor General is investigating, so let me step aside. No, do not run away from your responsibilities, except if you're saying you're too scared as well. So there's no law, because the mandate of the IGG is very clear. The mandate of the Auditor General is very clear. There's no overlap. So the IGG, there's no law that bars the IGG from investigating a matter just because somebody else is investigating. Because the IGG is an independent entity, statutory entity put in place by law. So we think that the IGG needs not to run away from her responsibility, which is very clear within the law. And the mandates are different. Besides, the Auditor General is an officer of Parliament. We understand that the Speaker asked the Auditor General to come and carry out an audit regarding these issues. We are not very convinced about that audit because, one, the Auditor General is an officer of Parliament. Number two, the Auditor General sent the same team that has been auditing Parliament all this while to carry out this special audit as well. They are conflicted. We don't expect them to come up with anything new. We don't expect them to say what we audited the other time was not proper, so we have found some new issues, yeah? And so I've also written to the Auditor General asking him, number one, to send a new team, not the one that has been auditing Parliament, which is what he sent, because we believe that that particular audit team is just going to do window dressing and cleansing. And then the Speaker will flash a report and say, you see, the Auditor General has audited, everything is okay. So we don't believe in that audit by the same team which has been auditing Parliament all this while. We are saying there should be a different team. If anything, there should be a forensic audit, because you see, these are billions of shillings that we are talking about. So we are telling the Auditor General, take this audit very seriously, dig deeper. You cannot have that same team that has been coming all the while. And that's one of the letters that I've written to the Auditor General. And in essence, that's why we are telling the IGG, you cannot say the Auditor General is auditing, because the Auditor General is actually part of us. Of course, yes, he has got a legal mandate, but he's part of us. And now that the Speaker has told him, do an audit, what guarantee do we have that that will be a proper audit? That won't just be doing window dressing. So we are telling the IGG, please, do not run away from your responsibility. Your mandate is very clear. Of course, the other letter to the Auditor General, we are asking for authenticated records of payments under the Parliamentary Commission and so on, because those are important for us as leaders, even as we carry out investigations, even for these different arms and entities that are executing their mandate. I also have written to the DPP, and this letter was received yesterday as well. The DPP is an independent entity, but the DPP can be requested and urged to cause an investigation. And therefore, the DPP gets to direct police to carry out investigations. And that's why I have written to the DPP. I'm urging her to cause an investigation, because these are very serious matters that should actually, ultimately, we believe, lead to prosecution, because there's lots of glaring irregularities. But anyhow, we are asking the Director of Public Prosecution cause an investigation in these matters. And our hope, again, is that the DPP will not say, but there are other people investigating. It does no harm at all. These are all independent institutions that have different mandates. Their mandates don't overlap. Otherwise, then, we would have had only one. We would not have IGG, we would not have DPP, we would not have Auditor General, and so on. But they're all in place with different mandates. Our expectation is that they will each carry out their mandate to get to the bottom of these issues. I've also written to the Financial Intelligence Authority, which is another legal body that has got a clear mandate. The Financial Intelligence Authority, our hope is that they will follow up on these monies, billions of shillings, that have been going on to people's accounts, bank accounts, withdrawn surreptitiously and so on. Our hope is that Financial Intelligence Authority, which is empowered by the Anti-Money Laundering Act, will dig deep into these issues, because there are clear, glaring issues of money laundering. Billions of shillings onto people's accounts, and then they are withdrawn. Immediately, what exactly is this money doing? Going on to people's individual accounts. Again, like I've said, our hope is that they will each carry out their mandate, and that they will not try and hide within legalities. As we have heard the IGG say, the Auditor General is investigating. No, the Auditor General has got his mandate, you have got your mandate. Okay? Carry out your mandate, because each of these is an independent institution. There are some other issues of concern. We have seen the Speaker of Parliament coming out to say she has got the support of Mr. Museveni, as if to say that all of you Ugandans who are asking her for answers, you can go to hell. We want to remind the Speaker of Parliament, who we respect because of the office she occupies, and that's not in doubt. we're not asking these questions out of disrespect, as some people are saying. How can the speaker be disrespected? Well, the speaker occupies a public office. The money we are talking about is public money. So it's our job to ask for accountability for public money. So stop trying to trip us by saying we are being disrespectful. There's nothing disrespectful about what we are doing, about us asking questions. And we are not going to stop asking questions of accountability. So again, we want to ask government, if it is true, as the speaker is trying to paint it, because she seems to say, government is behind me, I'll not be investigated. What happened to the government policy of zero tolerance to corruption? Was it just another phrase that was said to excite the people of Uganda? Will this be treated like the Mabati saga, where some powerful people were ignored, even when they were involved in stealing Mabati, iron sheets belonging to Karamoja? So our hope also is that government will come out clearly, because the speaker seems to say she has the backing of government. You don't have the backing of government to involve yourself in financial impropriety. Respond to these issues as yourself. The speaker has also been on the loose, blaming everybody she can blame. She has blamed homosexuals. I saw her blaming the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, saying these old women who are fighting us, we don't know what they left in the speaker's office and they want to reclaim. And she said, you see, they're developing their areas. Kamuli is developed. Why don't they want us to develop our other areas? It is clear who she was talking about. She was talking about the Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. I don't know if there are any personal issues between those two leaders. That's none of my business. My business is that the speaker accounts for taxpayers' money. I don't know who next she's going to blame, because now every day she's looking for someone to blame. If it is not homosexuals, now it is Kadaga. Tomorrow I don't know who. I don't care who might have issues with her, as she does claim that those who are raising these issues, they're fighting her. I don't know. I don't care. What I care about is that she gets to account for this taxpayers' money. That's what is important to me and to the people of Uganda. That's what is important to us. So stop giving us these excuses, finding somebody to blame. You respond to the issues we are asking about. It is possible you have people, all of us in politics have people who don't like us, obviously. I'm not naive to think that as leader of the opposition, as MP in Akawa West, and whichever other positions I hold, I'm not naive to think that everybody likes me. No. But you see, I can't use the excuse of those who don't like me by not responding to critical accountability issues. No. Let's not run away from accountability. Everybody has people who don't like them. But we demand that accountability is attended to. And what we are asking of the speaker, part of accountability, for example, for some of these trips, which she probably didn't take, if you cannot account, refund the money. Yes. Of course, there are other things which there is no other way she can sanitize them, yeah? But for these trips, which we believe some of which you did not take, because you cannot be in Kigali for the EALA Games and in Nairobi at the same time. It doesn't make sense. Refund that money. Because it's taxpayers' money. That's part of being accountable. And I want to give us an example, because I've seen some people talk about it in my own situation. I went to Nairobi on behalf of Parliament to visit the Honorable Segirinya Mohammed, because he's on the side which I lead, the opposition side. And I gave indication that I'll go for one night. I'll be there for one night and return to take care of other responsibilities that I do have. So I did go, came back, gave a report, I interacted with the doctors, gave a report to Parliament about the progress of this member and so on. A couple of days later, I saw a reflection on my account of money. They had processed money for 5 days as opposed to 1 day, for which I was in Nairobi, which I had indicated I'll be going for. but I'm told they were processing for several others, so it was done collectively. I said, okay. But as is normally the case, as we should be accountable as leaders. When you travel, because sometimes it might be you have gone somewhere and then you realize I need to return for some other engagements. You submit your boarding passes. We have an office here at Parliament called the Accountability Office, where those boarding passes are submitted, and so the day is tabulated. Any extra days for which you were not where you were meant to be, they are deducted off your emoluments for the following month. And so I did submit all of that because I said, no, I was there for one night, so I should not be paid for 5 days. But that process delayed. And so the money was not deducted off the March emoluments. So I was told it will be deducted off the April emoluments. I said, no, I'm not going to wait for that. So I withdrew money from my account for the 4 days, and I went and deposited that money in the accountability office. And I got a receipt for it. Because I said, I don't want this matter to take longer than it should. Yeah, so if you're waiting to deduct it off my pay of April, I'm not going to wait for that. I don't want people to misuse it. So I withdrew money for the 4 days, and I paid it back to Parliament. That's what we ought to do as accountable leaders. Even though, like I'm saying, I didn't ask for, I was meant to be there for one night, but in processing, it can happen. Because there were many other people going for different things still in Nairobi. That's okay. Because like again, I've said, sometimes you can go planning to be somewhere for a week, and you realize you have to come back for whatever reason. You account. How? That money ought to be deducted. If it takes long to be deducted, as was in my case, you take it and pay back that money. That's what we ought to do as accountable leaders. And so that's my urge to the Speaker. Some things she cannot explain, and we have got to have proper accountability, prosecution where need be, and so on. But there are those where, if you were in Kigali, the money that you got for Nairobi, you take it back, because you couldn't have been in two places at the same time. And then, for Kigali, we shall demand and say, but your per diem is meant to be $990. Why were you paid $4,000 per day? Take back that money also. That's part of being accountable as leaders. I also wanted to talk about the threats. We have been seeing whistleblowers and other people, members of the public, who are raising these concerns, and we understand their threats to their lives. I want to urge, whether it be the Speaker and other leaders against whom concerns are being raised, let's not be cowards. Let's not operate in a cowardly manner. Don't attack the messenger. Respond to the message that they are raising. Respond to the issues that they are raising. And by the way, we have a law that protects even whistleblowers, the Whistleblowers Protection Act. Our hope is that these people will be safe, protected by the law. But again, I want to appeal to the Speaker and other leaders against whom issues are being raised. Don't commit two offenses. Deal with this issue. Yeah? If you want to go after people who are raising concerns, that's a cowardly thing to do. Our hope is that they will respond to this issue. And of course, people do ask us, Joel, don't you fear for your life, and all these other people that are raising these concerns and so on. I'm doing my job. And so no one will intimidate me. No one. Because this is what I ought to be doing. Finally, the issues we are asking of are not so peculiar. Some of you who are following news, the Speaker of the South African National Assembly, which is their parliament, the Right Honorable Mapisa Nkakula, is under investigation. In fact, police raided her home to search it and to carry out several investigations. They're investigating her for having received bribes from contractors to the tune of 120,000 US dollars. Now that's even peanuts in comparison to the monies we are asking for accountability about our Speaker and our Parliament here. But that's to show you that no one should be above the law. And South Africa is not a perfect nation, but they're showing that even a Speaker of Parliament can be investigated. So our Speaker of Parliament is not above the law. She too ought to be investigated. We had hoped that she would come out much earlier before investigations, would come out, respond, and give accountability. But she has not, and so we are saying she's not above the law. And again, for the avoidance of doubt, we respect the Speaker and her office. But we are not going to keep quiet when it comes to accountability issues. No. And no one will intimidate us. So we want responses to these issues. Our hope is that these offices that we have written to will take action immediately. I thank you. Olwaleero tubayise nate ku nsonga ez'enjawulo. Mujjukira twali wano ne twogera ku nsonga ezigenda mu maaso wano mu Parliament era nga tubanja accountability embaliriro okuva ekitongole kya Parliament ne Speaker akikulira. Twasaba Speaker ebintu byalinga bisatu. Okusookera ddala ayite commission meeting kuba commission yetwala Parliament eno era yesalawo sente mmeka ezikozesebwa ku ki byonna byonna yebisalawo nga commission era nga commission tetuulanga ne muwandiikira ebbaluwa. Oweekitiibwa Speaker yaddamu ebbaluwa yange nga annyonnyola ebintu bingi nti kaakati tuli mu process ya budget, commission tesobola kutuula. Yeno ebbaluwa gye yaddamu n'aŋŋamba nti ekitone nnyo commission ejja kutuula eyo nga tutandise July, tumazeeko June, tutandise July. Ne ŋŋamba ate bijja biti ebyo kubanga nakitegeerako nti commission yasemba okutuula mu August omwaka oguwedde. Kakati bw'ogamba nti tujja kutuula commission eyo mu July n'okweyongerayo omwaka guba guweze. Nga neebuuza ani atuulanga commission okusalawo ensonga zino eza ssente zikozesebwa Parliament kubanga commission yeevunaanyizibwa ku nsonga ezo. Era nga njagala kujjukiza Speaker nti tayinza kulowooza nti ayinza okutuula ye nga ye n'asalawo nti kakati afuuse commission. Yakulembera commission naye ye nga ye si ye commission. Just like nga bw'ali Speaker wa Parliament naye si ye Parliament. Tasobola tuula nga ye n'agamba nti kakati mpisiza etteeka. Nedda, alina tukubiriza ne tuliyisa. So ne commission erikuba member ab'enjawulo nga nange kwendi. So tayinza kugamba nti kati ajja tuula ye nga ye asalawo kyayagala osalawo nga commission. Nedda. So kino nkiwakanya nakyo kubanga toyinza kugamba nti omwaka gujja kuyita commission tetuula. Kakati emirimu gitambula gitya? Ani atuulanga commission n'asalawo ku lwa commission? Ensonga endala twamusaba ayite olukiiko lwa Parliament twogere ku nsonga zino. Olukiiko n'aluyita nyina mwamulaba n'abuzaabuza n'alimba n'okulimba kubanga yagamba ti LOP katumalize baminisita okulenga ministerial policy statements zino then ensonga ezo tuzoogereko bulungi. Niyo olwamala okulenga ministerial policy statements Parliament n'agigalawo n'adduka emisinde. Ningamba bannange wala ebifo by'obeeramu ate nga tulina kweswaza nnyo tubeera mulimba kutuuka awo. Naye anyway ekyo kyalaga nti Oweekitiibwa Speaker alina kyakweka, alina kyatayagala kunnyonnyola ku nsonga zino ate nga ffe tugamba tetugenda kumukkiriza kukwekereza kintu kyonna ku nsonga zino. Ekirala twasaba Parliament eveeyo mu ngeri ennambulukufu ennyonnyole ensonga zino eddemu bannayuganda ebibuuzo bye babuuza. Ekyo nakyo tekyakolebwa. Mpandiise amabaluwa nga mpandiikira ebitongole ebyenjawulo, mpandiikidde IGG, mpandiikidde Financial Intelligence Authority, mpandiikidde DPP, mpandiikidde ne Auditor General nga mbasaba okunoonyereza ku nsonga zino ezigenda maaso mu Parliament kubanga buli omu ku bitongole bino balina mandate yaabwe okunoonyereza ku nsonga zino. Naye maybe okusooka okubajjukizaamuko ku nsonga ze tugamba nti twagala tufune ennambulukufu ennungi kubanga tuzze tuzoogerako. Abamu bayinza okwebuuza nti naye nsonga ki ezo? Okusookera ddala nsonga eza PADM eza Oweekitiibwa Sipiika. Omwaka oguwedde twakitegeera nti yatambula mawanga ag'enjawulo okumala emyezi nga 6 era n'afuna PADM wa buwumbi 2 ne miliyoni 600, 2.6 billion. Ekizibu ekiri ku nsonga zino okusookera ddala si kituufu nti Sipiika omwaka oguwedde yali taliiwo okumala emyezi nga 6. Kubanga ne bwe yafuna abalongo wayitawo weeks 2 n'akomawo wano mu Parliament okugikubiriza. Kosi twamugamba Sipiika ng'oyanguyeeyo naye anyway eddembe lye ng'omuntu waba awulira nti kati ali ready. So kakati gino emyezi 6 omwaka oguwedde nga Sipiika taliiwo gyali ddi? Kubanga si kituufu ekyo. Kiba kitegeeza nti engendo ezimu teyazitambula ne ssente yazifuna. Tulina n'engendo ezimu ze twawulira nti tewaliyo delegation okuva e Uganda naye ate yafuna zi PADM wano. Ekirala ekyenkiza ennyo, PADM ono yamwongeramu bumenyi bw'amateeka kubanga Sipiika bw'atambula wabweru w'eggwanga buli lunaku aweebwa $909 muyamba okufuna woteeri, ekyokulya n'ebirala byonna babifactoringamu omwo. Naye ate bw'olaba ssente zino ezaamuweebwa buli lunaku yali aweebwa $4 ezisukka mu 4,000. Kakati Sipiika yatuulayo nga ye n'asalawo nti kakati kaneeyongeze kuba talina buyinza obwo. Si ye yeesalirawo ye nga ye. Yakikola atya? Nga tugamba twagala embalirira ku nsonga ezo. Ekirala of course twabyogerako, commission eyatuula ba commissioners ne yali leader of opposition ne beegabira ssente awo mu ngeri y'obumenyi bw'amateeka. Buli omu n'akyogeddeko ne Uganda Law Society efulumiza ekiwandiiko n'abalala nga bagamba kino kyali kya bumenyi bw'amateeka. Waliwo abalowooza nti zino ensonga za NUP naki munaye n'abakukundiravu mu by'amateeka bavudde ne bagamba kino kikyamu. Abaali ba leader of opposition bonna baavaayo ne bagamba kino kikyamu. In fact ne yali excuse yali yeweebwa mu kusooka nti waliwo petition ba leader of opposition abedda bwe baleeta petition nga baagala akasiimo bakyegaana bonna. So kati nga tugamba ensonga eno nkyamu nga tugyagalako obulambulukufu obulungi. Ekirala PADM ez'abantu abalala nga clerk wa Parliament era naye yatambula engendo ez'enjawulo ezimu nga zikontana. Ng'olaba dates zalina okubeera e Kenya ate bagamba alina awalala. Kijja kitya? Ate ssente ezo zonna n'azifuna. Naye ate ekyenjawulo ku clerk wa Parliament, clerk ye accounting officer owa Parliament yeno. Kitegeeza nti buli ssente efuluma erina okubeerako omukono gwe. Kakati naye alina bingi ebyokunnyonnyola. Yayongeza Sipiika ssente zino mu ngeri etategeerekeka. Yabikola oba maybe aveeyo agambe nti Sipiika yansinza amaanyi nga sirina kyakkola naye nga ye talina bwabiddukamu bino ebintu kubanga bwe buvunaanyizibwa bwe ye nga accounting officer. Of course mulimu n'endala eza abantu abalala PADM nga Oweekitiibwa Magogo. Ensonga endala yali yaku bakozi wano ku Parliament nga bwe tubiwulira babawo emirimu mu ngeri etategeerekeka. Ne Auditor General yakinokolayo mu ripooti ye ng'agamba nti abantu bangi abaweebwa emirimu naye tubanoonya wano tubalaba baliwa bafuna omusaala era nga bwe tubiwulira bateekebwa ku payroll ne bafuna emisaala naye ate bali eyo balina gye bakolera eyo mu bizinesi z'abantu ab'enjawulo naye nga bafuna omusaala wano. Kikyamu eno nga abakozi abalina okubeera wano contract ziweddewo tugamba muzize bujja abagamba tewali ssente naye waliwo ssente ezikola ebintu ebirala ebitategeerekeka. Ensonga endala outreach, community outreach ezo eza Sipiika. Ssente empitirivu buwumbi na buwumbi ezateebwa ku account z'abakozi wano ku Parliament. Omu assistant director wa HR ku account ye bateekako obuwumbi 2 mu miliyoni 4, 2.4 billion. n'azijjayo n'azitwalira speaker. Omulala principal protocol officer mu office ya speaker 1.1 billion kawumbi. Omulala Chris Obore ono yayogerera parliament 1.9 billion akawumbi kamu mu milioni 9 zatekebwa ku account ye naye n'azijjayo n'azitwalira speaker muzakola mirimu gya speaker mirimu kyejo tekitegerekeka. Ne officer wo omulala yaweebwa ku account ye kwatekebwako obuwumbi 4 mu milioni 5 mwana 4.54 billion. Naye n'azijjayo bonna bazijjayo bazitwalira speaker okukola emirimu kyejo gya community nga bwe bagamba. Mbalirira eriwa era kijja kitya nti buno buwumbi na buwumbi buteekebwa ku account z'abakozi wano era n'abakozi wano ku parliament balina okwegendereza wakati balina okunnyonnyola ba Chris Obore n'abalala obuwumbi n'obuwumbi buteekebwa butya ku account zaabwe ekyo kimenya amateeka ate ne bazijjayo ne baziwa speaker tetumanyi oba yabawaako oba ki ebyo banaabinyonnyola naye kino kimenya amateeka so kakati n'abakozi wano ku parliament balina okwegendereza kubanga bajja bakozesa ensobi anti kakati ku account y'enkya bajja teekako sente zino zijjeeyo zindeetere ne kati eri mu records kiraga nti gwe wafuna zaaki toyinza gamba nti yali mistake nange nazisangayo busanzi nenzijjayo nenzitwala ewa speaker kitegeeza nabo baabirimu bino omupango guno nga balina okwennyonnyolako bano nabo. N'omulala director mu office ya lead of government business ku account kwateekebwako obuwumbi 4 mu milioni 4 zino zakola mirimu za office of government business office ey'Oweekitiibwa Nabbanja oyo naye alina okunnyonnyola sente zino zaali zaaki era nga lwaki ziteekebwa ku account ye ng'omuntu. Ensonga endala eno contract wakati wa parliament ne radio gye bayita Mama Bukedya FM eyo radio twakitegeerako nti radio ya Oweekitiibwa speaker yennyiniyo. Radio eno yaweebwa contract ya buwumbi 3 mu milioni 13 okukola emirimu gya parliament mirimu kyejo twebuuza era bayita mu procurement regulations ki kubanga wano TV ez'enjawulo radio ez'enjawulo mukola emirimu gya parliament mutulaga live wali nga tuteesa n'ebirala mu buno obuwumbi nga temubufuna radio ya speaker ya njawulo ki okufuna obuwumbi buno obusoba mu 3 ate n'ekirala abantu abateeka omukono ku ndagaano eno nga bamanager ba radio ya speaker bakola mu office ya speaker wano kati ebintu ebimu bikwewuunyisa contract tetegeerekeka procurement regulations n'ebirala buwumbi 3 n'okweyongerayo naye ate abasayininze nga bamanager ba radio ya speaker eri e Bukedya bakola wano mu office ye kati kikulaga nti tebitegeerekeka. Ensonga eno ng'erina okunnyonnyoka obulungi. Amabaluwa ge nabategeezezaako ge nawandiise yasookedde ddala ya IGG Oweekitiibwa Betty Kamya muwandiikidde nga musaba anoonyereze ng'ekitongole si yenga omuntu ekitongole ekya IGG kinoonyereze mu nsonga zino ezigenda mu maaso mu parliament empitirivu. Nawulidde IGG Oweekitiibwa Betty Kamya yagambye nti Auditor General ali mu kunoonyereza ku nsonga zino kakati nze nkyabivuddeko. Oweekitiibwa Betty Kamya munaye teweesuulirayo gwa naggamba obuvunaanyizibwa bwo mu mateeka buli kiriya bulambo bulukufulu bulungi toyinza gamba nti Auditor General ali mu kuauditinga kakati nze sijja kunoonyereza nedda. IGG kitongole ekyetengerera so tekiyinza gamba nti omulala ali mu kunoonyereza nze mbivuddeko. IGG biki kyotya kubanga etteeka likuwa bulungi obuyinza okunoonyereza ku muntu yenna ku nsonga zonna nga tolina nagwe weebuuzizaako katoyinza gamba nti ate kaakati Auditor General ali mu kukola audit nze mbivuddeko nedda kubanga obuzibu obuli ku nsonga ya Auditor General era naye namuwandiikidde nga mutegeeza nti okusookera ddala twakitegeddeko nti speaker yasabye Auditor General asindike wano ttiimu banoonyerezeemukko naye ttiimu eyasindikiddwa Auditor General ye ttiimu ebadde auditinga parliament emyaka gino gyonna kakati kyanjawulo ki kye bagenda okukola era bagenda kusiiga kazigo. Waitewe ebbanga ttono Speaker aveeyo agambe nti mulaba Auditor General afulumiza ripooti ng'etwejjeereza tetulina musango gwonna. Tugamba ekyo nedda. Eyo ttiimu ebadde wano ng'enoonyereza. Tegenda ate kwekuba ndobo egambe nti bye twanoonyereza luli tuzudde nga si bituufu ka tuggyeyo ebya ddala ddala. Kiba kyetaagisa ttiimu mpya. Sinakindi n'okugendera ddala obuziba mu nsonga zino. Kyengamba Auditor General era ntumusaba tufunire ne records ez'enjawulo. So kakati Auditor General engeri, by the way, officer wa Parliament, Auditor General mukozi wa Parliament netteeka bwe ligamba, is an officer of Parliament. Kakati yes, alina obuvunaanyizibwa anoonyereze, naye ate tugamba IGG. Toyinza gamba nti engeri ye gy'ali mu kunoonyereza nze mbivuddeko. Nedda. Era nga IGG tumusuubira okunoonyereza ku nsonga zino mu ngeri ennambulukufu. Omulala gw'empandiikidde ye DPP. DPP muwandiikidde nga musaba alagire okunoonyereza, kubanga DPP akolagana ne poliisi n'ebitongole ebirala, ddala poliisi, era nga yatera ogiragira nti kakati munoonyereze ku kino. Ye nga ye tanoonyereza naye aodaringa, so nga kye musaba. DPP kitongole ekyetengeredde era nga tekirina kubeera na kutiisibwa. Katusubire DPP anaakozinga investigation ku nsonga zino. Omulala gw'empandiikidde Executive Director wa Financial Intelligence Authority. Era kino ekitongole kiteekebwawo etteeka eriyitibwa anti-money laundering. Kubanga bino bituze tulaba. Sente buwumbi na buwumbi obuteekebwa ku akaunti z'abantu abamu bakristo bole n'abalala, ekyo kimenya amateeka. Sente ze bakukusa zaaki. Era nga tusabye Financial Intelligence Authority enoonyereze ku nsonga zino. Katusubire nabo tebagambe nti kakati bali abalala gye bali, ffe tetujja kuyingirayo. Nedda, bino ebitongole buli kimu kyetengeredde nga kyo. Era nga tekiyinza gamba nti waliwo abalala banoonyereza, ffe tetugenda kubyenyigiramu bino ebintu. Buli omu yeetengeredde ye nga ye. Ensonga endala, tulabye Speaker ng'avaayo mirundi egy'enjawulo. Juzi yagambye nti ne Mwami Museveni ampagira, gavumenti empagira. Ne tugamba maybe gavumenti etunnyonnyole emuwagira Speaker ku nsonga ki? Kubanga baatugamba nti nga gavumenti baafulumya poliisi gye bayita zero tolerance to corruption. Tebagenda kuttira muntu yenna liiso ku ssente y'omusolo. Byakyuse oba nene ensonga naye bagenda gikwata nga bakwata ensonga z'amabaati. Abanene ababba amabaati ga Karamoja abamu baabaleka ne bagendera abamu. Tugamba nti tetwagala muntu yenna kubikkirira Oweekitiibwa Speaker ku nsonga zino. Speaker ze ng'afuna lwekwaso. Twali mu Parliament neyekwasa abali b'ebisiyaga nti be bamulwana. Tugamba bannayuganda abakubanja embalirira ku ssente zaabwe ate kakati obayise bali babisiyaga. Bannayuganda tubawe ekitiibwa. Zino ssente zibabanjako embalirira ssente zaabwe. Katoyinza bagamba temulina bibuuzo bimuna kumbuuza mmwe muli bali babisiyaga. Lwaki tufuna lwekwaso? Lwaki toddamu ebibuuzo bye bakubuuzizza? Kati juzi namulabye nga yeekwasa Oweekitiibwa Kadaga yali Speaker. N'agamba nti bano abakazi abakadde nnyo abali mu ofiisi ya Speaker balwana okweddiza ofiisi yange ey'obwa Speaker. Bo bakulaakulanyiza ebitundu byabwe Kamuli n'awalala, naye tebaagala ffe tukulaakulanye ebitundu ebirala. Simanyi oba Oweekitiibwa Anita Among n'Oweekitiibwa Rebecca Kadaga balina entalo zaabwe ng'abantu, simanyi, tebinkwatako. Nze ebinkwatako ze ssente zino ze tubanjako embalirira. So tusaba Oweekitiibwa Speaker nga tukuwa ekitiibwa ku lwa ofiisi gy'otuulamu. Neddamu ensonga zino. Lekera okwebuzaabuza ng'ofuna kati tetumanyi mulala gwagenda kunenya nti onanwana n'onanwana naki. Kale ffenna munnanga bali mu byobufuzi tulina abatulwana. Nange ndi wano nga LOP ng'omubaka wa Nakawa West, nina abatanjagala. Ffenna buli omu. Ne kakati siyinza kwekwasa abatanjagala nga mbuuzibwa ebibuuzo eby'enkizo. So kakati Speaker, yes, naawe olina abatakwagala nga naffe ffenna tulina abatulwanyisa mu ngeri ez'enjawulo. Naye leka kwekwasa abo, simanya abakulwanyisa, simanya ki. Ddamu ssente y'omuwa omusolo eno engeri gye wagikozesaamu. Kitubuuza bannayuganda kye baagala odde mulekeraawo okufuna lwekwaso. Ate nga sipiika ayinza n'okweyamba ne yeetaasa ku nsonga ezimu of course walina okubeerawo okunoonyereza obulyawo ne zigenda ne mu mbuga z'amateeka, ne kati waliwo ezimu zasobola okutereeza nga bukyali. Kati nga zino tripu zeyatambula nti oli Kigali ate kyekiseera kyekimu oli Nairobi, sente zikomyewo. Ate olumala okukomyawo eza Nairobi n'ez'ekigali nazo olina okukomyawo ezimu, kubanga padiyemu yo tugimanyi ya $900, ne kati gwe weewa 4,000 n'okweyongerayo buli kanaku. Ezo endala zikomyewo kubanga bwe kirina okubeera. Njabawo ekyokulabirako, juzi nagenda nga nkikiridde Parliament okulambulako Oweekitiibwa Sseggirinya ali mu ddwaliro e Nairobi, era ne ndaba n'abasawo ne nkomyawo report eri Parliament ku mbaka waffe kubanga ali ku sayidi gye nkulembera. Era mu kiseera ekyo nategeeza nti nja kgenda mmaleyo olunaku lumu nkomewo okakkalaba emirimu emirala, era ne nkomawo report ne ngiwaayo. Waayitawo ennaku ne ndaba ku akawunti yange nga kuliko sente zigenzeeko nga nnyingi okusinziira ezo ezaali zirina okugendako. Wali walina kugendawo sente za lunaku lumu, woteeri n'ebirala n'ebirala, engeri gye nagenda ku mirimu emitongole egya Parliament. Naye ate nalaba nga bataddeko sente za nnaku 5. Ne ŋŋamba kino si kituufu. Era nga bwe tutera okukola, bw'oba olina gy'ogenze, oluusi kiyinza obutaba na bwe kiti nti yesu omubaka alina gy'alaze ng'alina kumala ennaku 7 naye n'afuna ebimukomyawo nga bukyali. Okwata boarding passes n'ozitwala wano, tulina office gye bayita accountability office, n'oziwaayo era ne batabulating ennaku ezayitamu nga toliiyo. Omwezi oguddako sente zo kwe batema sente ezo. Era zino ezange ne ŋŋamba nti nali wakubeerayo lunaku lumu ne ba processing ennaku 5 kubanga waliwo abantu abalala abaali bagenda abaka Nairobi ku nsonga ez'enjawulo, so baali processinga lumu. Ne ŋŋamba kale mukikoze bwe mutyo, kakati muzideducting. Naye ate process yalwawo, era omwezi guno sente ne ndaba nga tebazitemyeko. Ne mbuuza ne baŋŋamba nti abajja zitemako mu April kubanga process zaalwawo okuprocessinga ebyo byonna byonna. Ne ŋŋamba sigenda kulinda mwezi ate gujja, lwaki nkirinda ne kirwawo ekintu kino. Ne nzijayo sente ku akawunti yange ez'ennaku 4 ne nzitwala mu accountability office, era ne bampa general receipt eno ya government eno kopi yaayo nga nzizizaayo sente ez'ennaku 4 kubanga nali Nairobi olunaku lumu. Bwe kirina okubeera bannange, yoyo accountability owa ddala. Era ne speaker kye tumugamba nti sente ze wali tolina kufuna zikomyewo, sente ezo za muwa musolo era nga zirina kukola ku bintu ebirala. Ensonga endala ya abantu bangi bazze bavaayo nga boogera ku nsonga zino, tukitegeddeko nti bali mu kutiisibwatiisibwa. Njagala kubira omulango Oweekitiibwa Sipiika n'abakulembeze abalala abazze boogerebwako mu nsonga zino ez'enjawulo, muleme kubeera batiitiizi na kukola bikolwa bya kitiitiizi, kutiisatiisa bantu. Muddeemu bannayuganda bye babuuza, ne bwe munalowooza nti mujja tiisatiisa abantu aboogera ku bintu bino, munaatiisatiisa bameka? Kati nganze abantu bambuuza, naye Ssenyonyi totidde n'abaka abalala boogera ku nsonga zino n'abantu abalala, tetulina kye tugenda kutya. Kino kyenkola buvunaanyizibwa bwange okulondoola ssente y'omuwa omusolo. So sipiika sirina kye mutyako, muwe ekitiibwa nga sipiika, era naye kansubira mpa ekitiibwa nga leader of opposition. Ne mu kumuwa ekitiibwa nina okumubuuza ensonga zino nga twagala embalirira ku ssente y'omuwa omusolo. So tuleme kutiisatiisa bannayuganda ababuuza ebibuuzo bino kubanga kye bakola ssente zino zaabwe. So toyinza batiisatiisa lwaki onjogerako naki, ssente zize ayinako omugabo kubanga asasula omusolo buli kiseera. N'ekisembayo, abazze bagoberera mulabye nga sipiika wa South Africa ali mu kunoonyezebwako, era poliisi yagenze mu maka ge n'egaaza n'ebirala. Ono sipiika mulamba mu ggwanga eryo, ggwanga ddene nnyo ne mu ikonomi okutusinga wano. Ne bagamba nti newankubadde sipiika ate sipiika wa kibiina ekiri mu gavumenti kya ANC, ne bali mumunoonyerezaako kubanga nga bwe bafunye amawulire nti yafuna enguzi ya $12,000. Ate nno munnaye bw'ogeraageranya ssente ezo ku zino ffe ze twogerako mu ofiisi ya sipiika n'ebirala n'ebirala, ezaawana ate empitirivu nnyo. kyo kikulaga nti wali alina kubeera waggulu w'amateeka. Yes, South Africa tetuukiridde nnyo naye n'ebizibu byayo, naye bagamba nti sipiika tulina bye twamuwuliddeko bali mu kumunoonyerezaako. Abaffe sipiika owaffe ye lwaki takwatibwako? Munene atya. Tugamba nti nedda eyo ofisi gyalimu y'Abannayuganda ne ssente z'akozesa z'Abannayuganda, twagala anoonyerezebweko. Mwebale. Baluwa ya sipiika sipiika namuwandiikira era nanziramu ennaku z'omwezi 12 March ng'agamba nti commission tegenda kutuula, ajja kutuula eyo nga tumaliriza Juni eyo. Of course ekyo nze ngamba kikyamu, omwaka teguyinza kuwera nga commission tetuula. Nga bwe mba nnyonnyodde, sipiika tayinza gamba nti yajja tuulanga nga commission ku lwaffe. Abakozi bameka betuwulira abali wano mu bukyamu, information gye tufuna eraga nti basukka mu 2. Naye osoma Auditor General's Report agamba ye yalaba 105 abatategeereka, abali unidentified nga bwe yakiwandiika mu report ye. N'ekyo obudola batugamba wabeerewo okunoonyereza okulambulukufu obulungi. Okay, so that tutegeerera ddala ekituufu kyeki ku nsonga zino. Ensonga ya social media, speaker agamba nti zino ensonga za social media tezirimu nnyo makulu, tajja kugoberera biri ku mitimbagano. Honorable Zaake ow'ekitiibwa speaker yakamusindika mu committee ya rules and discipline ya Honorable Katuntu emirundi 2 ku bintu byajje ku mitimbagano ku social media. Kakati bw'abagamba nti social media terina makulu, lwaki yatambulira ku bintu byagamba byalaba ku social media okusindika Honorable Zaake mu rules committee ne bamugoba ne mu kifo kye mu ngeri emenya amateeka ku bintu ebyava ku social media. Kakati speaker kyagezaako kugamba nti waliwo ebimu ebibeera ku social media byajja kugoberera, ebirala tajja bigoberera. Tuleme ate kwebuzaabuza. Ddamu ensonga zennyini. Gamba nti kale mugamba nti nagende Nairobi oba nafuna ssente bwe zisaazifuna. Kyoba oddamu ekyo mu kifo ky'okwebuzaabuza, ate simanya abali b'ebisiyaga banwana, ate owekitiibwa Kadaga nwana, ate kati social media. Ddamu bye tukubuuzizza. Okay, ugambe nti ssente ezo saazifuna oba kino si kituufu mu kifo ky'okwekwasa generally. N'ekyo omukisa omulungi nti n'ensonga ezimu Chris Obola ayogerera Parliament azoogeddeko ng'azikkiriza nga tazeegaana. Kati nga contract eno ya radio ya owekitiibwa speaker yavaayo n'agamba nti radio ya speaker yokka si ye tulina olukalala olwazi radio zetutera okuwa contracts. Radio ya speaker si ye yokka, nti waliwo n'endala naye ku luno bajjamu eya speaker. Kati takyegaana. Nitugamba nti kakati mutunnyonnyole. So speaker aleme kwebuzaabuza, ddamu ensonga zetukubuuza bwe zibanga si ntuufu oba ki. Naye nga bwe mbagambye nti ne Auditor General tumuwandiikidde atuwe records zino eziri authentic ezijja otambulirwako n'abanoonyereza naki ku nsonga zino. Neesiga ebitongole bino bye tuwandiikidde binaatuukiriza bye tubasabye okukola. Well, nabo tubatadde ku minzaani kubanga kitubasaba okukola kiri mu mateeka, buvunaanyizibwa bwabwe. Obaweebwa emisaala buli mwezi, ebibaweebwa ssente ze tuyisa hano mu Parliament. So kitubasaba okukola kutuukiriza buvunaanyizibwa bwabwe okunoonyereza ku nsonga zino. Tewali kyamaanyi nnyo kye tubasaba kukola oba ekitali mu mateeka oba kye batasobola kukola. Nedda bye tubasaba byonna biri mu mateeka, birambulukufu bulungi, era nga nabo tubatadde ku minzaani tulabe oba naatuukiriza obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe oba nedda. Shamimu yabuuzizza ku nsonga za donations n'ebirala, ebintu bingi ebitategeerekeka. Juzi twali twogera wano ku budget ya President's Office ne State House ng'olaba mpitirivu tetegeerekeka. Tulina zino zi classified butabalika trillions, ate ng'ezo tezinakola kulondoolebwako. Okay, so bingi bye tulina okusigala nga tunokolayo. Naye mu kaseera kano katuli ku kino ekya Parliament era nga twagala tukiremereko paka nga n'endala nazo bwe tujja ku nsonga endala ez'enjawulo, kubanga oluusi bw'okwata ebintu bingi awo kakati ebimu bibuliraawo ne byekweka mu birala ebingi. Katugamba nti kino kyekiri mu ddiiro, twagala kisooke nakyo kive mu ddiiro. N'ezindi endala tuzze tuzoogerako era nga tujja ziddamu, ne kati eno ensonga yeri mu ddiiro. Era tetwagala waliwo ababuzaabuza nti kakati lwaki mwogera ku ya speaker yokka. IG gyagamba nti buli mwaka tufiirwa obutabalika 10 trillion 10 ate eza speaker zemwogerako ntono nnyo kwezo uki kakati ku buno obutabalika 10 buli wetusanga obuzibu nga tulemerako nti kakati zino zitunnyonnyolebwe tuzitegeera obulungi. Ayogedde ku bakozi mu ofisi ya LOP nti abawaayo akasente ku kibiina bijja wasibimanyi munange zenga LOP ate n'abakozi nabo tebakyali wano kubanga contracts zaabwe zaggwako baagaana okuziza obujja. So kakati sibitegeera byogerako munnange. Derek yabuuziza yes investigations bwe zitatambule nga bwe tusuubira nga bwe mbagambye nti bino ebitongole ffe tubitadde ku minzaani era nga tubisaba bituukirize obuvunaanyizibwa bwabyo obuli mateeka katulinde tulabe oba banaakikola. Sente zinazaayo batera okutuwa omusaala gwaffe wakati w'omwezi awo wati era wiiki ewedde bweza nafuna notification nendabanga sente tebazigjeeko neŋŋamba nti ate kakati kikimbu process yalwawo bajja zitema ku musaala gwa Apuli neŋŋamba sigenda kulinda Apple kwe kujjayo sente nenzitwala yo. Of course naligambye nti kaninde Apple tikina buzibu sinti sente nali nzibbye oba kibazi processing newankubadde nabagamba nja kubeerayo olunaku lumu era nga kati bwe balina okuzididacting ambawadde boarding passes na accountability omulala naligambye kale oba temuzigjeeko mwezi guno kaninde Apple tewali buzibu mba sirina musango gwenziziza naye nagamba nti saagala omuntu yenna akikozese bano bapropagandist naki kanzitwaleyo ze bampe risiiti yange. Lwaki tuddukira ebitongole bya gavumenti ekyo I think nkizeemu ensonga ya wekitiibwa Kayemba sinnagipiikinga bulungi sinnafuna biwandiiko ebyo naye obuuli awo tunabifuna tetugenda kutira liiso muntu yenna n'omu okay era nga tuwoninga bannaffe nti ensonga za accountability buli omu bijja kutuuka ku mulyango gwo oba oli wa NRM oba oli opposition kimuvudde mulala n'abafa abamu nabo tugamba nti newankubadde oli waffe n'ensonga zino twagala oziddemu. Mwebale nnyo mwebale ddala kati ndooza ne bwentema. Well, kizibu okugamba nti biwadde ebbanga ki naye twagala okulaba nga bitandise bitulage nti bitandise mbagirawo. Okay, so kizibu okugamba nti tubawadde ebbanga lino kubanga ebyokunoonyereza bingi biyitirivu naye twagala balage bannayuganda nti batandise okunoonyereza. Bannayuganda baddemu essuubi nti kale kati awo batandise then era basigala batuwa update nti kati wakafuna kino wano wetutuuse era wayitawo kabanga tubabuuze nti kakati bannange kyekigenda maaso. So twagala batandike mbagirawo okunoonyereza ku nsonga zino. Okay, that's when I wrote to the speaker. I need to get I'll get that later. I'll share it with you people when I wrote to her. But her response was 12th March, days after I had written to her. That's regarding the commission. The commission, when I was asking for her to convene commission meetings. How many employees were irregularly recruited? According to our sources, it's over 200. But when you read the Auditor General's report, he talks about 105 employees who are unidentified. That's in the Auditor General's report. So, and that's why we are saying we need a thorough investigation to get to the bottom of these issues, so that we get the factness of everything. Once a proper unbiased investigation is carried out, we'll get to the bottom of these issues. Issues of social media, that the speaker says these are social media allegations, they don't warrant a response, but the speaker has on 2 occasions sent the Honorable Francis Zake to the disciplinary committee, Rules and Disciplines Committee, over social media matters, twice, and is still, battling those issues. So why was it okay then, and it's not okay now? So that time she trusted social media too much. Now she's saying social media can go to hell. You see, you can't have your cake and eat it. But also what's important is that the spokesperson of Parliament, Mr. Chris Obore, has been speaking a lot, and he has acknowledged a couple of these issues. Okay, for example, the contract for Bukedia, Mama Bukedia FM, the speaker's radio station, his response was, there are many pre-qualified radio stations. It's not just Mama Bukedia FM. So he was not denying that this contract is factual. But his response was, there are many others, you know, so we pick among the pre-qualified ones. Why was Mama Bukedia picked? And also, how is it that staff in the office of the speaker are the one signing as managers of her radio station? But yes, we have also asked the Auditor General, because we have a right to information, in one of the letters I've written to him, to provide all these authenticated documents, so that no one finds an excuse. But like I'm saying, these are not, I mean, whoever has been speaking, whether it be Chris Oboda and so on, they're not denying the factness of these issues. Even the speaker is not denying them. She's simply saying, homosexuals are fighting me, Kadaga is fighting me, and I don't know who. You respond to these issues. Because if they are false, you say, I did not go to Nairobi or to Turkey or to Kigali, or I did not receive that money. What's hard about saying that? But now you blame this one, you blame the other one, you're running away from the real issues, because she knows they are correct anyway. How confident am I about entities that we have reached out to? Well, we are putting them on the test as well, because these are legally provided for entities. They have a clear mandate. So we are tasking them on behalf of the people of Uganda to execute their mandate. In a sense, they're also on trial. They are on the test. Let's see if they will execute their mandate without fear or favor. Shamim, question of donations, why not address them all? There are many problematic expenditures. Some other times we have talked about the budget of State House and the President's office. We've talked about classified expenditures, which we know are not so classified as such. This is money they use for their own whatever, because they know they can't account for it, yeah? So there's numerous things. Sometimes you want to deal with what is on your plate at the moment, so that there are not too many diversions, yeah? There's many things that we need to deal with. So many in this our country, numerous, yeah? But this is at hand right now. Let's deal with it. And again, I've heard some people saying, why are you only going after the Speaker's office? There's many other corruption, happenings in this country. In fact, the IGG said we lose over 10 trillion shillings to corruption every year. This is only a fraction of it. Well, at least we have evidence about this one. So we are going to pursue it to its logical conclusion. Staff in the LOP's office paying some money to the party, I don't have information to that effect. If anything, which staff? Because the staff, their contracts were not renewed as of 30th January. So they don't have contracts. So which money would they be paying to the party? But nonetheless, I don't have information to that effect, because they are staff of Parliament. And that's why, anyhow, we were saying let their contracts be renewed, because they have been operating here. Derek, what happens if investigations hit a snag? Well, what happens if they succeed? Yeah, because you see, we are not going to fold our hands and say we are going to do nothing. We have to do something that's provided for within the law. That's why we are asking these questions on the floor of Parliament, in the media. That's why we are writing to all these entities. We are saying we shall use every avenue available to us. Okay, we shall not live by fear. That what if it doesn't succeed? What if it does? Well, what if it succeeds? Okay, but even then, if it is not to succeed, it should not be because we have not tried or because we have not played our part. Because we have a mandate to keep the government in check. So let's execute our mandate, so that if nothing happens, it will not be because we have not executed our mandate. You did ask about refunding the money. Our emoluments normally come in about halfway the month, so that is last week, and that's when I noticed this money was not deducted. That's when I said, now I'm not going to wait for April, because they told me since it's not deducted March, then it will be deducted April. I said, no, I'll not wait. which is my right also. I mean, I could have said, okay, let me wait the deduct April, it would still be legal. But I said, now that I've discovered, as of last week, that we've got the emoluments and the money has not been deducted, I don't want it to stay longer with me. Why should... So the total, let me get for you the total. That I refunded unspent for a trip to Nairobi for 4 days, 12,288,000 shillings.
Okay.
That's what I refunded for the 4 days. Why run to government entities? Somebody else did ask. I have talked about that because they are legally in place. They have a mandate. They have budgets which are appropriated by Parliament to do this job. So we are asking them to do their job. We are not asking them for any favor. Yeah. Then the issue of the Honorable Kayemba, I have yet to pick that. But the good thing about the way information flows, maybe we shall see about many other people. Yeah, so that's why we keep telling colleagues, let's be careful. So this, I've not gotten that information yet, but it would be good to get it as well, so that we see what's happening there. But bottom line is, we'll not keep quiet about anybody, yeah, regardless who. And that's why we're even going after some of our own, so that it's not seen as, okay, you guys are after people in government, but you in the opposition, are you clean? Well, where there's issues in our backyard as well, we've got to address those issues. Quickly, Muruganda, Dominic.